So it's been a long time. I mean, the last video I made was right when I was starting to create the game. Well, the game is in development officially now, and it's starting to come together. I've started the character controller and I made a 3D model for the player. You know, just a test. Nothing really exciting, but it's something. And I textured it, and I made some simple test animations so I could test out animation blending in my, I guess, game now. It's not really an engine anymore, so I'll just pull up the 3D model that I made in ZBrush, which may or may not ever be used, but I would like to say is the first official 3D model that I have actually made in ZBrush, imported into Blender, textured, and animated. So I have made 3D models before, but they have been simple. This one's more organic, I guess. Alright, documents, ZBrush, projects, okay, prototype. Alright, so this is the non-low poly one. This is what he looks like, which definitely isn't bad. You know, it's a start. I might actually use him, I might not. It really depends. Sort of just a test, getting the feel for ZBrush and all that. And then I made him low poly, which you don't have to see because you'll see it in the engine. And then I added some textures. So this is the head, body, and face. Specular map, and then the boots. So pretty cool. Then the specular map. So on for the jeans, the shirt, or the vest, and then the undershirt. So, and I made it my 3DMA file, so I used my importer and exporter. So here's what it looks like. So let me just make this full screen. Pretty cool so far. So I'll zoom in, so you'll notice a few things that are different. First of all, the character is there instead of the chest. The chest used to open and close automatically. Well, now there's a player there. Alright, and instead of the old test level, I changed it to a more, a better test level that has stairs, little platforms, and a slope. And of course this cube. So I also implemented a nice third-person camera which rotates, I believe, in spherical space around the player from a distance. So you can change that distance. It's pretty cool. So if I press F3, then I could view the player. So you can see it's kind of cool. And if I press F3 again, he will rotate away from the camera. So let me make him face towards the light, press F3 and zoom in. So you can see, really not a bad model, although there are a few things on his right arm, or from our view, the right arm that we see, not his right arm, his left arm, there is a gap right under the sleeve, and that is a problem. But you can see when you turn on wireframe, it's fairly low poly. I believe it like 20,000, which isn't bad. But you can see where the undershirt sort of cuts off, it makes a gap. But I could always go back and fix that. So now for test animations, I added a simple walk animation, which, you know, isn't the worst. It could be better, but it's not bad. It's just for testing right now. And I added a jump animation, or a fall animation. Well, pretty much the jump animation is only one frame, but it looks like a jump because I added in blending. So without blending, when I would walk forward, there would be no interpolation, or however you say that word. There would be no blending between animations. It would be choppy. But you could see when I walk forward, it sort of moves the bones according to the next animation and the previous frame. So that's kind of cool. So I just walk around and test that out. I created a character controller, or at least the first draft, which is working very well right now. So it handles slopes fairly well so far. Although when you go up a slope, you'll gain speed, which is a little bit weird. So I need to fix that, but that's not really a problem right now, so I'm not focusing on it. Eventually though, I'll probably make it so once you reach about this angle, which I believe is a 70-degree angle, I'm not necessarily sure, I will make it so the player rotates and slides down. Most likely. I'm not necessarily sure though. But if you ever played Mario Galaxy, you'll understand what I'm talking about. So the player, he is, well, the 3D model follows a bounding box, and that bounding box has physics applied to it. But if I turn on the physics viewing, or the collision viewer, you know, the wireframe around the colliders, you'll see that the box is actually floating a unit above the floor. So what you don't see is there's actually 4 rays pointing down 1 unit below the bounding box. So that box is floating above those rays. And the reason I did that is, let me take out everything, hold on, is so you can actually walk up stairs. Now, if this bounding box was on the floor, you would collide with the stairs and you would not be able to walk up on them. But since I'm using the rays for the floor collision, I am able to walk upstairs like that. And that is one of the reasons that when you go up a slope, you go faster, because the bounding box is moved. It's always a unit above the floor, so when you're walking up a slope, it'll move up a unit every time, you know, the distance decreases from the bounding box to the floor, if that makes sense. So you do go faster when you go up a slope because of that. So there's quite a lot that I did, and obviously I can't really put it all in one video. That would be a lot of work and a lot of time, and not many people would want to view that. But I'm just giving a little update because it's been a while. I added the camera, and I also added, I don't know if you noticed, but the camera follows the player on the y-axis in a very smooth manner, if that makes sense. So you can see it sort of lerps towards the target position. The camera was fun to add, just a little bit of 3D math trigonometry. That wasn't that bad. But the character controller was a little bit more complicated. It's still a work in progress. Now, since I'm pretty much done talking about the features that I've added, I mean, still a lot more, but I'm not going to go over them. I would like to talk about what I want to make. So my plan is to make sort of a hack and slash style game. I want it to be very combat oriented. I want there to be a lot of action involved and a lot of mechanics in fighting. But I'm not necessarily sure what direction I want to go with that. I don't know if I want the player to have or wield a sword, or I don't know if the player should be fist fighting at first. I don't know how the player should level up. I don't know anything about the enemies yet. So I guess we'll just find out, but I'm going to keep making prototypes until I find something that I really like. But I'm hoping it can be sort of a hack and slash style game, maybe with dungeons and like you know, lots of items and customization and all that. That would be pretty cool. But right now I'm just going to create a prototype, and I should be able to show it off in I don't know, maybe a month or so, maybe a bit longer, maybe a bit shorter, probably not, but who knows. Anyway, I appreciate you taking your time to watch this video. I hope you like it. You know, I spent a lot of time making this 3D model. I think everything's starting to look great. Anyway, thanks.